recording.
I am covering.
Here's what we're doing today. And it's going to be due on Friday, so we don't have a lot of time, but I think it's an easy project for you.
What's due?
We're doing Word Module 1. Cloud Document is going to be due Friday. That's what we did last Friday, and I recorded all that in case you weren't here, so you can work through that.
I was not, and I wasn't because I was in a meeting that went too long. So sorry.
Well, you can always go to the resources page and watch the video on my channel. Easy to watch. So, yeah, give me some hits here. I've got not 0 hits on it so far, and you can like it. You could subscribe to my channel. So, what we're doing today is this Word Module 1. And here's the things we're going to learn in Word. Let me bring that page over. Here's what you're going to learn in Word. If you don't already know this, don't be embarrassed. If you do already know it, we'll zip right through. Pay attention to anything that's new in Word 2019. Starting and stopping Word, which is an application, uses memory on your system. We talked about how applications work. Starting entering some text. Now, many of you already have used Word, but you will be perhaps doing something you haven't done before in Word. My recommendation as we use this textbook, remember in the syllabus, the statement I made in the syllabus, and it's written in the syllabus, is you are responsible for everything in the textbook, even if we don't cover it in class. So those little quizzes over the chapters now are coming, so to take a look at that here in the class, down here under the assessments, or sorry, they're hiding here in the Word section. There are 3 e-quizzes available for you to take at up to 3 times. Your best score wins. These are open book, open notes. You can take them with your friends. You'll get the best out of it. You could even take it before you even read the chapter. You could have it open while you're reading the chapter. It's open book completely, just to give you credit for paying attention and answering the simple multiple choice questions that go with each chapter. So don't forget about those. Many people come back to me later, Mr. Manning, I didn't take the e-quizzes. One problem you'll have if you don't take the e-quiz, when the deadline passes, you will not be able to review your questions in preparation for a future quiz because there's nothing there to review because you haven't taken it. So at least take it once so you'll be able to review and see what's there. It will show you what answers you got wrong. It won't show you the correct answer, but you can always look at that while you're taking it a second time. So don't forget, those are due as well, and they are on that schedule starting to show up by next week, giving you lots of time on those. Okay, so let's get going on this Word Module 1 and see how easy this is. So I'm going to grab my book, put it on my other screen, while we go through starting up Word. Now, remember how we can start up Word? The little Windows button or the Windows icon on your screen. It's hiding over here underneath the record button. I can't get to it on this screen. But I can hit the Windows key. Oh, it's not showing up. The Windows key isn't working for me right now. Let's try the Windows icon. My Windows icon's not working. It's like it starts. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Windows. I guess I'll have to go find a Word document that's already running. I will browse over to where I have a Word document and I'll start it that way. Kind of bugs me that I have to do it this way. You should just be able to touch the Windows button, start up Microsoft Word. I'm going to go to a previous document. Remember how I'd started one back in our little file management project? There it is. I can always open a previous document in Startup Word. And then while I'm in Startup Word, looking at another document, I'm just going to go File, New. And now I'm in what you will see when you start up Word. So hit the Windows button and then start typing Word, or you can find it in the Startup menu.
Are we doing the Cloud Docs assignment?
We're done with Cloud Docs assignment. We're doing the Word Module 1.
And where is this? This is past introduction to Windows and Office.
Yes, if I go back to Schoology,
We're on the Microsoft Word 2019.
We're in the Word, we're in the Microsoft Word. Notice if you click on that little arrow next to the little envelope, it shows you what's inside of there, while the others are still showing. So you can expand it to see all the things inside. So that we're working on this one right now. So once we're done with it, you'll be uploading it, submitting it right here. Okay. So we're starting up Word, and we're starting a new blank document. Now, while we're starting here, before we click blank document, look at here what's available to us. If you're working on other things that you want to have a nice template for, you could click on any of these other options and see templates that they offer you to start with. They even have some templates already showing on this page. So if someone says you want to, they're asking you to generate a nice report, well, you could start with a report kind of halfway built for you. But we're going to start with a blank document because we want you to know how to make all those fancy documents. You too could actually make a template for other people to use. So we're starting with a blank document. And now I have my blank document. I'm going to go close the other one I had from before. And I'm going to bring it to full screen. Full within the recorded screen here. I want to make sure you can see everything as we're recording. I'm adjusting my window size to fit just right. Okay, and here's the start of my Word document. Now before we do any typing, here's our plan of what we're going to be making. Let me just show you a picture of what we're planning to make. We're planning to make this document. Always wash your hands. Nothing super fancy. We're going to spend a little time on how to make something like this appear. This one is a paragraph filled with a color. I'm going to show you a better way than just a paragraph filled with a color. Some fairly basic things here. A outline, a border, formatting of a numbered list, inserting an image with some effects on it, and then a bulleted list. And a tagline at the bottom with some fancy thing. That's what you're going to be doing. So let's get started. Before we do anything though, notice we want to set up our margins after starting a blank document. Let me go back to my Word document. Here it is. We'll put this guy in our recording just for fun. Linda's Chicken, we're back and we're better. Watch that video, bring them some hits. Okay, so we're in the Word document. Before we start typing, get familiar with what's going on here. I have the Word icon at the bottom of my screen showing that that program is running. In Word, while it's running, I have this thing here is called the ribbon. And a few items as we go through, we'll be naming these various things. This is our main menu. Now, if you're not seeing that menu, double-click on any name across the top, and the ribbon will appear or disappear. Double-click, and I have my ribbon. Double-click, and it goes away to give me some space. If I click on it once, and then I click somewhere else, the ribbon goes away. To keep it there, double-click on it, then the ribbon stays around. That is our ribbon we'll be referring to, mainly spending time understanding what's in these areas in our ribbon. And we're also going to be setting our margins. Let's make sure we have our margins set. Sometimes they have us go through a whole step to get our margins exactly right.
My margins disappeared, sir.
Okay, it didn't tell us to set any particular margins, so I'm just going to go with the default margins. If we find we have to, we can come back. Now, if you'd like to view your margins, I think in the first one we actually don't view our margins. I'm going to go and turn off the viewing of margins so it looks exactly like in the textbook, and because we don't care about margins right now, I can come over here to View and uncheck View the Ruler. I can turn on and off viewing of that ruler. I've been used to seeing it all the time. When I first used Word, it was always there. But sometimes it's kind of annoying. It's extra confusion on the screen. So we can turn on and off our ruler or turn on and off grid lines. I hardly ever have grid lines on, and I don't very often view the navigation panes. So we'll go to the standard view as shown in the textbook as we mess with things here. And now before we start typing, we want to be sure that we have the correct font here. Let me get to the starting page to our document we're creating. Okay, we're also down here at the bottom, you'll see some options here. This one here is called, if I hover over it, it's called Print Layout View down at the bottom. There's other views available, the Web Layout and the Read Mode. Print Layout I found the most useful. That's the one we'll be using most of the time. But you're welcome to explore and see what those look like as we experiment. Okay, before we get going here, now we're going to adjust the margins. We want to set this page to have narrow margins. So I go back to the Layout tab, click on the Layout tab, and I'm going to click here on Margins. To adjust them, I can click this tiny little arrow right beneath it, and instead of having our normal margins, I'm going to select Narrow Margins. Haven't typed anything yet. I'm telling this document, set the margins narrow, so as I type, I'll know what it looks like. You can set your margins anytime while you're working on a document, but it's good to have an idea where they are before you start. To see the effects or see the ruler there, I can turn on the ruler and see this little gray shows me where my margin is. Otherwise, it's hard to really tell where your margin is until you actually start typing and see where this insertion point takes you. If you type all the way to the right, you'll see the insertion point takes you, and you'll kind of get an idea where that right margin is. So we've set the margins to be narrow. And I'm going to go back and click on my Home tab because that's a nice place to be home. I like to be at home. Comfortable at home. And a nice soft sofa. Now we're going to start the text, and then we'll come back later and format our text. So our first beginning of our wonderful poster, wash your hands! Exclamation point. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Control key, roll the mouse, lets you zoom in and out. You don't have to zoom in. I'm just zooming to make it easier for you to read here. You can always adjust your zoom. Down here in the lower right, there's a little zoom slider. But I like using the control key and rolling the little rolling wheel up and down to zoom in and out. Okay, wash your hands is our first text. And then let's continue on with the text we're putting in this document. I think we're putting and before I forget, in the book, they do like us to see where our paragraphs begin and end. This little mark right here, this backwards P, helps us to see where paragraphs begin and end. So I click on that and toggle on the paragraph marks. They're very sometimes ugly and annoying dots in between words and the backwards P thing. But it helps to know where your paragraphs start and end. You can turn that off just by toggling that, clicking on that little icon right there. Sometimes it's useful to see if some person doesn't know Word, and when instead of doing a new page break, they hit enter 1,000 times to get another page. It shows you they haven't taken this class and are going to be smart like you. All right, now we begin our paragraph about washing our hands, especially this time of year when it's flu season. Do you know some friends that are sick? I've heard there's a lot of sickness going around. Oh man, you better not cough on me, Manuel. There's a space there. See, that's where the paragraph marking is showing that little dot. I'm going to turn off paragraph mark so it's clear there's a space between there. And if you type wrong, it'll give you red squigglies. And I have a typo in there. I see the red squiggly. And I'll go fix my typo. Fat fingered the W there. Turn my paragraph marks on to show you. I hit enter. It started a new paragraph. And it keeps those germs from spreading the flu. My theory is that most diseases spread through the mucous membranes of your eyes and not so much the things you eat.
Tell us a little bit more about these mucous membranes.
Things that you breathe. The mucous membranes of your lungs and your eyes, that's where I think most of the germs get in. I don't think it's from the things you eat. So eat whatever you want.
Yes, sir.
Just don't breathe it. That's the problem. You eat something bad, but it's a little left over as you breathe, and that's what gets in your lungs and then makes you sick. Yeah, in the Linda's chicken, 2 weeks old, you're fine. Your stomach's immune system, all the acid kills about everything. It's what you breathe that gets into your system. Okay, so we have that first sentence. Now we add a few more things that we're going to be making a numbered list later on. So here's some things that you want to do. Wet hands with with clean. Now they spelled it wrong just to see what happens. Clean running water.
Why cleanse?
Because they want to show you that, oh, spell check. If I don't remember how to spell clean, you can always right-click on any word, and it gives you suggested spellings. So you don't even know how to spell words half the time. You can just right-click on the red squigglies, and usually the first suggestion is the correct one. That time it actually wasn't.
It was clan.
It thought clan was right. Because normally we do wash our clans.
Oh my God. Cleanse or clan.
Lather those hands. Of course, make sure to lather the entire hand. Just like the surgeon movies you see. I know one guy that his habit is to always rub his hands when he's nervous. Looks like he's washing them all the time. And a few more things that go on our list. Scrub hands. Now, they show us a spelling error that is not a spelling error, it's a grammar error. See the error there? Didn't give you red squigglies, but we have a problem.
Blue scribbles.
It should give us blue squigglies, it didn't give us a blue. And now we have the last one of our, it's going to be a numbered list.
Mr. Manning.
Yep.
My computer's just freaking out.
It's probably because he's not using the right.
Yeah.
No, he's in Word.
All right.
There's no.
He's actually using Google Docs.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Okay, we're back from after helping Manny here. We're going to come back later and make these numbered lists. If you want to try it, all you got to do is select through, click and drag through the sentences, and then we're going to click numbered list there. But we'll do that later. Now we're going to get the rest of the text in here.
No.
We've already checked the spelling and grammar. We do have one problem here, right? Hands for at least 20 seconds is not marked wrong, but let's make that correction before we forget about that. No blue squigglies showed up. Often you will get the blue squigglies indicating likely a wrong word choice.
That's scary.
Yeah.
See that? Like, I'll just type away. I don't even look.
Yeah. A lot of people do that. Even in professional websites, you'll find that kind of stuff. All right. I think I have everything right. If I notice that, I can catch that later. Now, we want to leave a blank line because we're going to be putting in an image here. Let's see here. Now, and then we're going to put an image here later, and then we're going to have, this is going to become a bulleted list. So I'm leaving a blank line. Now, how do I know there's a blank line there? I see the extra space, plus, if I turn on paragraph marks, I see that, yes, indeed, somebody has left a blank line there. And I actually see I have an extra blank line. I'm just going to backspace over that and then hide those markings. All right. So here we go. We're going to put in what's going to become a bulleted list. After eating, coughing, sneezing, or using tissue, I feel like I had to wash my hand after typing this document, huh? Now this last line is going to become our signature line. Now watch what happens. Let's see if this turns into a link when I hit the space bar. Sometimes it does. Yep. Word automatically turns that into a link. We're going to not want that to be a link. We'll come back to that. Now that's about all the content of our document. So this is going to be a really easy project. Well, let's now fix a few things as we go here. It seems, as far as I can tell, everyone's pretty used to navigating your document just using your mouse. But there are some special keys listed on a table 1-1. If you're working with a large document, or as you want to speed up your skills in Word, learning some of these shortcut keys can be handy, such as your page up, page down keys over on the right. They give a table there on page WD, I can't read the page number, 1-20. WD 1-20 has a whole list of some special keys. The basic one everybody knows is your little arrow keys, up and down, left and right. But Control and then hitting those keys will take you a whole word ahead, left and right, if you want to go a whole word. And there's a couple others there. End of the document, there's an end and a home key. Those become useful as you get more proficient at working with documents.
Does that mean animal food?
Yep, animal feed, yep.
What we feed?
Yep, feed. That's what the farmers refer to it as. Get some feed. Give the cow some feed there, Shane. Do your chores. Yeah, chicken feed. Yeah. Now, before we do any more in this document, for all this spelling, all this typing we've done, we don't want to lose our work. So this is one of your best friends on the keyboard, the Control-S. Control-S is your friend. You can do File Save, but Control-S gets you there quickly. Little pinky on the Control key, S with your index finger, and when it's the first time you're saving a document, it's going to ask you where to put it when you do Control-S. Control-S, and now this is where you want to be very careful to browse to the right place where you're going to store your document. And I'm going to create a, let's see, I am in my cs101 Spring 2020, so I'm going to just save it right here. I'm going to call it, and this is important too, down here in the file name. Select that name that you're going to call it, and that's not, I'm in the wrong page. I'm going to do over here, Control-S. There we go. It was wanting to save my web page I was on looking at the document. Here's where we want to save the document, browse to the correct place. If you are logged into a OneDrive, you can save it to your OneDrive. Be careful though, if you ever go to the OneDrive and it's somebody else's OneDrive, don't save it there, or when that person logs out, they're going to own your file. You'll never be able to find it again. If you have a flash drive, You can save it to your flash drive by clicking Browse, and you should see your flash drive show up underneath this PC or as one of the drives available under the PC. I'm going to save it to my special folder I have on this computer. My Documents folder, cs101, and this semester, spring 2020. Now, in Schoology, I think I gave you instructions. Let's just check the instructions for naming this file. I think I gave you instructions. Oh, I guess I didn't give you instructions here. But what I'm telling you, your name needs to be in the file name, like your last name. I'm calling this Manning WD1. That's the name of the file. Your last name, WD1. I actually had a student, more than one, that put the words, your last name, WD1, in the file name. Don't be that person. It used to be a lot harder because people were submitting their files into one location, and their name, I couldn't tell whose it was. Where now with Schoology, I can tell it belongs to you because it shows up in your submission. But I'm going to be pinging you if you don't follow instructions, putting your name, WD1, in there. That's the name of your file. Give it a good name, and make a folder with your name in here if you're using... Oh, I forgot to give... Did you ask for your own login, Autumn? I forgot to give you your own login. I'll try to do that today.
I still need to sign into that OneDrive team.
The team drive.
No.
You did get an invitation to it, didn't you?
I did. Then,
You just ignored the invitation.
no, I didn't.
Didn't want to come to my party.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You're busy making those Linda's chicken videos.
No. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Now the file has been saved. But your files do not have eternal security. Nothing like your salvation.
One question.
Yes?
One question.
Oh, is that a question for Danny? Okay, you all ready now? We've got the basic information in our document. Manny, you're getting your information in there?
Oh, wait, man, you're smart. No.
Oh, I already submitted it. I'm sorry.
We're not.
You get it now.
You can submit it multiple times. I only pay attention to the last submission. Now the submission can act as a backup as well because we trust that server to not lose our files. But there have been times where the server's been unavailable. Okay. Now we're going to do the fun stuff. This was just entering the boring data. Now we're going to format things nicely. So, after we've saved our file, given it a good name, we're going to come back and format things. Are you ready, Manny? All right. I'll bring his desktop up to the screen here just for fun here.
Yes, do it. Yes. I want to lock and go. It's like a race. There you go. Dang it. Man, yo. No fun.
I don't do this all the time, but I can watch your screens if there's a question about what you might be doing on the screen, like this guy.
This guy.
Like this guy. Let's see, what's he watching here?
Oh my God.
Man, yo. Can't believe it. I'm not lying. Best one I hear.
So we'll keep an eye on this guy, see if he's paying attention. Okay, so we're here in Word.
Go back, we can watch it while we're...
Yeah, there we go. Get it. There's he's in Word.
Sacrifice your screen.
Yeah, we'll let him do the lesson. Okay, we're gonna go to Word. We've saved our document. Yeah, I'm still watching him over here just to make sure.
Hey, I'm fine.
Yeah, he's doing all right. You're doing all right. Okay, we want to, first of all, we're going to look at that first paragraph. We want to turn that first paragraph and the seconds into looking something like this. So we're going to go from plain, boring text to larger font, nicely readable, and look at a cool font here with wash your hands. So this is what you're going to learn next. Maybe you haven't done this so much in some of the documents, because I doubt your teachers require you to make colored paragraphs, although that would make pretty cool reading material, eye candy for your teacher. So we're going to start on, first of all, before doing anything, we're going to change our document theme. On our document, we go to the Design page, the Design tab, and we're going to choose a theme over here, way over on the left side. A theme is a combination of colors, fonts, and font styles applied to a document. And we're going to choose, what theme are we going to choose? We're going to choose the slate theme for this document. Do you see the slate theme? I'll let you do one. I'll let you choose your own. As long as you put things in nice format, I'll let you choose your own theme. In the book, they choose the slate theme, and I'm going to find that right here. Notice as I hover over it, it gives me a preview of the slate theme. You can't really tell what it does until you start looking at some colors. The black and white, the font changed a little bit. Didn't see much else, but as you do other things, you'll see the effect that the theme has. Nice thing about themes is you can write a document and later on decide you want to choose a different theme. Microsoft lets you. You can always come back and try a different theme. It'll affect your whole set of fonts and colors. But for now, I'm choosing the slate theme before I start making other changes. Now, this very first paragraph. We come back to this first paragraph. I'll zoom in on it here a little bit. And we want to select all the text in that paragraph. Now, normal people that don't know as much as you know that you can drag through text to select it. But most people don't know that if you just click on the left of a paragraph, it selects that entire line without you having to click and drag across it. So that first line, I'm going to select it by clicking in the left margin. And now I'm going to center that with the little centering icon up here. If I hover over that, I also see that there is a control key that goes with that centering icon, Control E. I hardly memorize any of those control characters unless I'm doing it 1,000 times. Since I'm not often centering, I don't remember the Control E, so I just come over here and center. And also, I've been using Google Docs more and more, and they don't have the same control characters, so I don't remember them half the times. Now that's centered. But we're not done with that yet. We want to apply a cool font and style to that. Oh, but we're not going to do it yet. We're going to come back. This one we're going to also center. Now I could select this by dragging through the margin and then click Control E. Or I could say, you know what, it's the same format as this one. Let me click in here and then turn on the Format Painter and paint that format on that next line. And it didn't center it. I thought it would center it. All right, never mind. Select those two lines. Control E this time to center those lines. While it's selected, one of my favorite keys is Control-Shift greater than or left than. Control-Shift greater than, Control-Shift left than lets me adjust the font size with the keyboard. But we can always give a specified font size there if someone says, here's the exact size you want. Now, back to the Wash Your Hands title. Let's go back and select that either by clicking left margin or dragging through the entire Wash Your Hands. We're going to change the size of that line to a very large font. We're going to change this to 36 point. 36 point. Notice in your font size selections, you could type the size in here if it wasn't in your selection. Suppose you wanted 32 point. You could type the number 32 to give yourself 32 point. But we'll leave it at 36. I'm going to go back to what I did by Control Z, undo what I just did and go back to that. We're going to stop here, save that document, make a backup of it in Schoology. Don't print it out. Who's printing out their document? A different document. Just remember, this printer doesn't have very good toner. It often fails, so don't depend on it. But save your document. We will complete this next time. Exploring formatting skills. You're going to be formatting ninjas. Word formatting ninjas next time. All right, have a wonderful day.
You know, I have noticed we had a little bit of, kind of a word system going. And,
Hey, you were late.
Now, I hope you understand. I'm letting you out a little early here, so.
oh, that's our word. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
I'm giving you time to back up, save your files, and if you have any extra questions. I usually will try to do that. If you have any questions, I'll try to give you any extra time. Manny will try to figure out. If you have problems with that, we can always, I can reset the profile there without losing your files. I'll make a different user and see if the problems go away. Because sometimes, if somebody else has messed with it, they can be all, the word can be all messed up for you. Ah, introduction to the Church of the Thessalonians. A little commentary, huh?
Very Greek, yeah. It's for Greek exegesis.
So you translated all this. Very good.
He was making a joke. He's like, yeah, and do these, do the breaks of all the paragraphs and that's what they are. You have to use Greek. And everyone's like, no.
There are no paragraph marks in Greek, are there?
Not in the original.
Yeah.
So if you want, that would be like Greek 8. He's like,
And they're all capital letters too, right? In the original?
yeah, that would be. Although, I see. Can you walk me out when you're done?
And don't forget to wash your hands. Is that the Linda's chicken?
Jay, read it.
What was that? Let's do a roll call. We're trying to kick it off. So, this definitely isn't. Did you get my email?
No, second time.
I didn't did you ever get my email? We took a sabbatical. Jared's fault again. We just took a sabbatical. We just want to. Right, okay? Everyone was in a relationship. Now, no one is.
Relationships?
Let's go around and let's talk about who is still in the kitchen. Obviously. Hey, that worked really well, okay? I'm ready to be a father. Okay, obviously, you got Shane. Who's next?
You got Nathan.
There we go.
You're in a relationship, Shane? Oh.
Kiss. That's all he's gonna say the whole time. Kiss. Like, everyone's talking to the kiss just adds in. Kiss.
Here's something. This is an interesting little thing, and I'm really happy for Keith. He's on the basketball team now, and big games coming up.
Yeah. Everyone's happy.
Eagle. Fuck. We love that go Eagle.
If you can't tell already, we have sound effects. And we have sound effects now because we have upgraded. Ellen, we're better than you now, and we have.
Yeah, because we actually have issues.
Forget
We got 6.
we got 6. Wait, no, it's 5.
Quick math, Jared. Quick math.
I can't count.
It's less. Spent a solid $8 today. Shane is not gonna.
I said 6.
Shane is not gonna.
I'm not
He's
gonna
better.
yeah, you are. Sorry, though. Woo! Anyway, yeah, so we have upgraded. We got ourselves a nice little spoofy soundboard so we can all sound pretty like and actually give you quality content with this quality podcast that is still around, unlike our not quality
We won't say names.
Who writes the scripts?
No, man.
Or you just kind of ad hoc,
You guys
ad lib,
know, I
improvise?
how-
It's all
we
improv.
had fun, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of miserable. All of us like trying to sit on one side of like the microphone, like it was loose. It just faces one direction. We all
You can be stars.
all up next to each other. People sitting on people's laps.
You're getting an audience at least, or some hits.
It was tough.
So we all became friends. Except for Noah. We can't
I'm gonna have to subscribe. Add one more subscriber.
0 to 100. People.
That's an annoying. That's pretty annoying. Oh, I am subscribed. I'm already one of your subscribers. One of your 62 subscribers.
We gained like I've known for 5 subscribers from Noah.
We love Let Go Nova.
Last year got 240 views. This one has 100 views so far.
So we have upgraded for everyone. We can actually now
You're on a
30
track to
minutes.
be getting a lot more than 240 after a year. You can start that.
What you guys missed out on is
Start monetizing those advertisements.
it was chaotic. And also
Maybe you could write a bot or something to give you millions of hits.
It was terrible. These boys were too excited.
Little YouTube bots.
Exactly.
So,
We don't hurt them. I know, exactly.
I'm one of his 62 subscribers already. They're going.
I listened to the first 3.
We're better now.
I hope so.
We are better.
I haven't quite figured out where this one's going.
That's the whole point. It's not going anywhere.
So basically, long story short, like God was riding me like on the bunker, and so I was already speeding. Stop it. And then
Well, I gotta log
I was
out,
already
so.
speeding.